Jesus told them this parable: think of the fig tree and indeed every other tree. When you see it bud, you know that summer is near. My dear brothers and sisters, about 20 or 30 years or 40 years, I'm just 40, but I would presume that would be the trend. Things are really different from now. I remember when I was growing up in the month of March, between 15 and 20th, we were told it would be the rainy season. The rains will begin. And it was always like that. Once it was March 15th, then we'll be expecting the rains. And it will not be more than up to 3 days, and it will always rain. Things were really steady. People knew everything. I remember when I was growing up, when somebody died in the town would be completely dead. Like, it would be like something unthinkable. And everybody would be frozen, everybody would be sad. When we heard the church bells ringing, not in the morning, in the afternoon, it was a sign that somebody was a funeral that was going on. And everybody, I still remember the feeling I used to have those days. And I would even be scared going to a funeral, not a funeral home, but the homes where the people were laid instead. Because I was so scared seeing dead bodies. It happens once in a while, that somebody would die. And even at that, when you were told that somebody had died, you would not want to go there. When I was growing up, I only heard of one person who committed suicide. One person all through my life when I was growing up, until I left that town, when I was already entering the seminary. I only heard of one person who committed suicide. But this is not the case today. Everything has changed. Many people die in a day. If you go just to the funeral homes, you find many people laid in state. The climate has changed. It's no longer like rain comes during the rainy season. No. We expect rains anytime. At times when you're expecting the rain, then it's really scorching sun comes up. And then there are different things happening. There are floods, there are wars, things that we never heard about, things that are being legalized, things that are becoming normal, which are not supposed. Long time ago, they were not even thought about. So the truth is that strange things are happening. And strange things are happening. Things are no longer the way they used to be. And it's important that we must see these signs. We cannot ignore them. But then we are not supposed to be afraid of these signs. That is the difference. That we know them, but they are not going to move us to fear, because we know who we are. At the same time also, when I was in high school, and we would have exams coming up, when I saw the teacher that has a subject that I find so difficult to study, or that I have not started studying, I just always felt guilty and a kind of a hatred towards that teacher for nothing. Not because he did anything wrong, but because I have not studied his subject, or his subject is very difficult to study. And somehow you just transfer and connect that, your frustration towards the teacher. You don't like to see him. You are so scared when you see him, because it reminds you of what you've not done. And I think, all my dear brothers and sisters, that when we see these signs, when we have fear, then it's a sign that there is something we are still to do that we have not done. And I say this is not supposed to scare us, because it should only remind us to get ready and prepare ourselves. Because we do not know the day nor the hour. It is not even about the signs happening. Even if there were no signs, we have to be ready anyway. We have to be prepared at all times. That's what Jesus tells us in his gospel, Matthew chapter 25, verse 13. Be ready at all times, because you do not know the day nor the hour. And that's why we have to keep our heads high. We have to stand erect. And the first reading tells us already frightening about those admitted into the kingdom, but also those who are cast out into the fiery lake. And that is why what we do not want to miss that. We do not want to miss the very reason for why we were created, to love God, to serve Him, and to be happy with Him in heaven one day. That is what we were created for, and we do not want to miss that. And therefore, letter of St. Peter says, let us take the Lord's delay as an opportunity to be saved. What does that mean? We must get ready at all times. We must start to do the right things. When I saw that teacher, and it reminded me of a subject that I had not studied, or a course that I had not studied, or that was very difficult to study, then I would have to go back and start studying. I will have to go back and start doing the right things. I will start to go back and try to see how I can make it easier to study. And I think when we hear about such a reading, and Jesus telling us about when we see the fig tree and other trees budding out, and then we are able to say, it is summer is about to come. And therefore He says, when you see these things happening, also know that the time is near. The time is near, because we have to be ready at all times. We do not know the day nor the hour. So, my dear brothers and sisters, this is an opportunity, this is an awakening in us. And as we are about to enter the season of Advent, let us ask God in His love, in His grace, that we may be able to remain prepared at all times, prepared to welcome the Lord into our hearts, prepared to see Him at any time, and cast away and ask ourselves, if we are still afraid, what are we afraid about? Maybe there are things that we need to be reconciled with. Then it is a perfect opportunity to be reconciled with God through the sacraments of confession, through loving each other, through reconciling with each other. Let us continue to ask God for the grace that He may accompany us on this journey of life.